welcome to this interview series ahead of Big Data and AI World on the 22nd and 23rd of May at Messe Frankfurt. I'm Rebecca Uppendale, tech reporter at Tacoronte, and today my guest is Santiago Tacoronte, Director of Data and Analytics at Mondelez International. Santiago will appear at Big Data and AI World later this month, but today we'll be talking about 3 tech inventions or innovations that have had an effect on his life. So welcome to the interview series, Santiago, and what is the first invention you've selected for us?
Thanks, Rebecca, and thank you for having me here today. See, since this is around the conference in Frankfurt, I will choose the first one, computers, right? I think that computers, first of all, they triggered the fourth industrial revolution, and they were the genesis of data somehow. Right? In computers started as humans to think that we can use machines to help us with our activities, to extend our intelligence, and to somehow start automating things. So I think that computers are the start and the genesis of the fourth industrial revolution and the world that we live today.
I do wonder, do you have a kind of a fond memory that you have from when you first interacted with computers?
I do. I think I first was exposed to computers when I was something like 20 or 21. I went to the house of a friend, and they were having one of these HP very old computers that take a long time to start and to run applications. But when I saw the first applications on that screen and the first very basic games, I thought, wow, that's gonna change the world, right? That's a completely new thing. Before that, we will just rely on TV, on other kind of media to consume information or to interact with information. So I immediately fell in love with computers and with the digital world.
Just wondered if you could speak more to your journey about how you arrived in your position you are currently with data and analytics, and how that journey really progressed.
See, the journey for me has been very much along the digital path. So I've been in positions related to digital marketing, and although I studied in the hospitality school, I was very soon exposed to the digital world. I got very involved with the dot-com bubble, developing websites. And back at that time, I remember started using what is called today Google Analytics, which was called before Urchin, in a very primitive and basic form of analytics tools. And from that time, I already was very interested into the data analytics world. And then I did many other things in my career, but at some point I said, I want to be full-time dedicated to this. And the interesting part is that now this is getting into other ramification and other interests. Like I have always had a great interest in productivity. Mm. So now I'm developing my career in my interest on how to use analytics and data to increase productivity, which I believe also translates into being more happy, because I believe that productive people is happy people because they are happy with the work they do.
That kind of feeling of self-satisfaction and being prideful of your work, is that something you carry along throughout your career, is having that pride?
I do. I pride myself to be, well, I don't want to sound arrogant by no means, but I pride myself to be a quite productive person. And right. I do stop a lot to analyze and to look in retrospective if I'm being productive. Productive in a sense that I'm bringing value to my company, to my life, to my career, to the careers of others, to my teams, to the people I work with. So this is something I reflect almost daily, and I have developed almost an obsession on how to do things better, faster, nicer, and freeing up time for us. So we can continue thinking and developing and investing in innovation for our companies and our lives. And this is precisely what I'm going to talk about in Frankfurt next week.
That sounds fantastic. And on that note, should we move on to your second invention? So what is the second invention you've decided to tell us?
I decided to pick the internet.
Oh, wow, big one.
Yeah, I think that the computers, yes, were the start of all this revolution and helped us become, more productive and interact with machines in a different way and make a better use of machines. But I think the internet changed our society. Because the computers helped you in the past individually, but the internet has interconnected and globalized our society in a way that we are now hyper connected between humans around the world. I think social media is a good example, right? And trends like I'll tell you something. I come from the Canary Islands in Spain, right? And I was there some time ago, and I saw a lot of K-pop culture, right? I was thinking to myself, when I was a kid, that would have been impossible, because the only news and the only information you were able to consume were either newspapers or they would come in TV, right? And in TV, I don't think K-pop would have been ever, right? Something that would have made it in the Canary Islands, mass media. But now, with the access you have to anything, literally anything around you, you can be into K-pop, or you can be into chess, or you can be in whatever you want, and it's there. It's accessible. It also has been a game changer in the way I believe new generation has been brought up. The amount of information. My daughter goes to YouTube and consumes information, and it's knowledgeable about things that, again, I would have never imagined to even fathom to even know about when I was a kid, an 8 years old. So I think that the internet has massively changed the way we interact with each other and our life in general. I think it has been the 2000s revolution. Yeah.
But I do wonder, in your role, how is this vast amount of data, what are the challenges of being kind of a steward over that, especially if you have different rules and regulations pertaining to different countries? What are the good approaches and good practices to employ if you're dealing with all this data on a day-to-day?
The challenges, there are many challenges I would say that for my job, or what I do, or intelligence in general for companies, and many of the marketing activities or analytics that we do, the internet and the interconnectivity and the evolution of computer has been a blessing, right? Because I like to think, Rebecca, that is making our lives better. I always go back to the book of Professor Hans Rosling, Factfulness, a book I recommend to everyone, which speaks about the evolution of the human species, and that we are at the best time of humanity. And I like to think that computers and the internet and information and data has a lot to do with this. That said, with a great power comes a great responsibility, right? We are always, and we need to be very careful and on the watch for the ethical use of data and whatever surrounds data, right? Algorithms, recommendations, analytics as well, right? And taking decisions and judging other humans with the data that we have in our hands. So many considerations in the past used to be more, how do we handle this vast amount of data? I see this clearly moving towards, hey, be careful. There is a lot of data there that can be really powerful, but that can also harm people. So let's use it mindfully. And thanks God, in my company and at Mondelez, we treat data with respect.
Very simple but important mantra to have, and a kind of standard to hold there. How do you think the internet's going to develop? Is there anywhere that you think it can go in the future, or do you think we've kind of reached the pinnacle of it?
I think the internet will evolve, right? I feel that the internet as we knew it is reaching probably its peak time, if it's not already decaying. I'm not very sure which form will it take. I'm very curious and I'm very excited to see where all this thing heads. I've heard a lot and I've read a lot about Web 3.0, right? And a more decentralized internet. But I don't know. What do you think?
I'm not sure, I think there's so many moving parts as well. And I think when you have things as like your next invention that we're going to speak about, all these other kind of big innovations coming ahead, maybe some things will take the wayside, whereas other things will develop. But we don't know. We have things like the Internet of Things and cloud. So I think the possibilities, there's so many branches to consider. But talking about, we're moving on to AI, that is your next invention. Would you like to speak a little bit more on that?
I would like to speak about it, and I didn't want to fall into the overuse of the keyword AI, but I truly think that in conjunction with computers and the internet and all this knowledge and all this new world that has been created around, and the explosion of human intelligence thanks to the use and the support of machines and information, I think that AI is the next revolution to come, because it will speed up the pace of innovation exponentially in all fields, across all fields, right? I hear recently from a family member that works on as a physician that the detection machines that his company is developing are using now AI and are able, thanks to AI, and be able to analyze that much data in such granularity, they are able to detect, or they will be able to detect very soon, any presence of a cancer cell in human bodies in 15 minutes. Right? So imagine how this will change, right, our lives and our life expectancy. And this is just one example. I was thinking when you asked me the other day, when you sent me the invite for this interview, about what will be the next evolution for mobile phones, right? If you think about mobile phones, it's been since the first one was presented, I believe, 2007, 2008, Steve Jobs, right? On that historic keynote that he made to present the iPhone. It's been sustained innovation, right? The phones are a bit better every year. It has a bit of a better camera, more space, faster, etc., etc. But you haven't seen a disruption. And I was thinking about VR and AR, augmented reality, as the next, or the natural substitutes of phones, because phones, you need to look at the screen, but if you're wearing an interface or you have something that is integrated with your senses straight, it will definitely be more convenient and faster to use, and in the end you will be more productive. And the developments on VR and AR are mostly powered by artificial intelligence. Right? So I feel that beyond the hype, because there seems to be a bit of a hype or a bubble around AI, there is a true revolution that is brewing on the background, and that will change many things in the human life.
Completely agree. And as you say, it plays such an integral part to a lot of components. And I think a lot of people forget that artificial intelligence isn't a very new thing. It's been around for a long time. It's just now we have this massive investment and a massive kind of global interest. How do you think AI and automation is going to work? Because I'm assuming in your role, automated processes and your love of productivity, those two things kind of come hand in hand. Is there a way that people can leverage this more, do you think?
I think so. There are a lot of fears around AI, understandable fears. But I am completely convinced that AI, used in the right way, for most of cases, ethically, and to support human decision, will be a tremendous boost to mankind and to all of us in our daily jobs. Just think about the experience on, and I'm going to tap on generative AI for a second, the experience we used to have with with web searches or search engines on websites, Google or alikes, right? And I'm completely convinced they are also due to be disrupted because the experience that generative AI can bring you on search, it's much more powerful. You can get the information you were looking for in a matter of seconds, where before you might take hours or days to research about something, to find information about something, to get an opinion or to get yourself informed about something. So exactly like that, there will be many processes that will be and human interactions that will be disrupted and will be changed. But I do still believe that it will be for the great benefit of all of us. And of course, there will be impact in many areas and in jobs. Absolutely, I think it's clear by now. But I like to think that there will be a way of, redirect us into a more smart way of doing things and more enjoyable way of doing things.
And finally, you're speaking next week at Tech Show Frankfurt, Big Data and AI World. What is it you hope attendees will learn at your session next week?
My session is going to be a bit of an unconventional session. I'm not going to speak cloud. I'm not going to talk about data warehouses or databases or lake houses. I'm going to speak about, and I'm going to give practical examples about how to improve your life and your happiness by being more productive and by streamlining your work. So I'm going to touch upon 3 different aspects of productivity through data and analytics. They're going to be linked. I'm going to talk about individual productivity, you as an individual, how much productive you are with your time. I'm going to speak about team productivity, and then I'm going to speak obviously about automation and how to use these 3 things in conjunction to make your life more productive and find more free time and be able to finish your work on time and do things that are making an impact in your company, in your career. We're going to speak prioritization as well. And what I want people to take away is at least that they apply one of the techniques I'm going to show next week, and they are able to recover 1, 2, or 3 hours from the week every week when they leave this